The Behavioral System Model by Dorothy E. Johnson. Dorothy Johnson was born on August 21, 1919 in Savannah, Georgia. She was the youngest among 7 children. Her father was a superintendent of a shrimp and oyster factory, while her mother was very involved and enjoyed reading.
In 1938, she received her associate's degree from Armstrong Junior College in Savannah, Georgia. In 1942, she received her Bachelor of Science degree in nursing from Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. In 1948, she received her Master's of Public Health degree from Harvard University in Boston. In 1943 to 1944, she was an instructor and an assistant professor in pediatric nursing at Vanderbilt University School of Nursing. In 1949 to 1978, Johnson was an assistant professor of pediatric nursing, an associate professor of nursing, and a professor of nursing at the University of California in Los Angeles. In 1955 to 1956, Johnson was a pediatric nursing advisor assigned to the Christian Medical College School of Nursing in Vellore, South India. In 1965 to 1967, she served as a chairperson on the committee of the California Nurses Association that developed a position statement on specifications for the clinical specialist.
Johnson was a prolific writer on the subject of nursing theory. Her publications include 4 books, over 30 articles in periodicals, many reports, proceedings, and monographs. Her most known works are her 1968 paper entitled One Conceptual Model of Nursing. Theory Development: What, Why, How. Barriers and Hazards in Counseling. In 1975, she received the Faculty Award. In 1977, she received the Lulu Hassenplug Distinguished Achievement Award. In 1981, she received the Vanderbilt University School of Nursing Award for Excellence in Nursing.
She died on February 1999.
The Behavioral System Model. Johnson's theory of nursing believes that humans are behavioral systems made up of 7 subsystems. She also stated that nursing was concerned with man as an integrated whole, and this is the specific knowledge of order we require. Weaknesses of the Behavioral System Model. The theory is potentially complex because there are a number of possible interrelationships among the behavioral system, its subsystems, and the environment. Potential relationships have been explored, but more empirical work is needed. Johnson's work has been used extensively with people who are ill or face the threat of illness. However, its use with families, groups, and communities is limited. Though the 7 subsystems identified by Johnson are said to be open, linked, and interrelated, there is a lack of clear definitions for the interrelationships among them, which makes it difficult to view the entire behavioral system as an entity.
Factors that led to the development of the theory. Creation of the theory began in the 1940s when she began to teach. She was studying nursing and how it was being taught and realized that there was no evidence that supported what should be taught to nurses. She then had a premise that nursing was a profession that made a distinctive contribution to the welfare of the society. Thus, it had an explicit goal of action in patient welfare. Johnson wanted to clarify the social mission of nursing from the perspective of a theoretically sound view of the person we serve. Johnson's theory was influenced by the environmental theory from Florence Nightingale's Notes on Nursing. Johnson accepted Nightingale's belief that the first concern of nursing is with the relationship between the person who is ill and their environment, not with the illness. Talcott-Parsons' structural functional approach. Parsons' theory stressed a structural functional approach, One of his major contributions was to reconcile functionalism, which is the idea that every observable social behavior has a function to perform, with structuralism, the idea that social behaviors, rather than being directly functional, are expressions of deep underlying structures in social systems. Thus, structures and all behaviors have a function in maintaining the system. The components of the structure of a social system goal, set, choice, and behavior are the same in Parsons and Johnson's theories.
And lastly, the system theory by Rappaport, Chin, von Bertalanffy, and Buckley.
In system theory, as in Johnson's theory, one of the basic assumptions embraces the concept of order. Another is that a system is a set of interacting units that form a whole intended to perform some function. Johnson conceptualized the person as a behavioral system, in which the behavior of the individual as a whole is a focus. It is the focus on what the individual does and why. One of the strengths of Johnson's behavioral system theory is the consistent integration of concepts defining behavioral system drawn from general system theory. Some of these concepts include holism, goal-seeking, interrelationship or interdependency, stability, instability, subsystems, regularity, structure, function, energy, feedback, and adaptation. Focus of the theory. The efficient and effective behavioral functioning in the patient to prevent illness.
The theoretical concepts of the behavioral system model. Behavior, expressed by behavioral and biological scientists, that is the output of intraorganismic structures and processes as they are coordinated and articulated by and responsive to changes in sensory stimulation. System is a whole that functions as a whole by virtue of the interdependence of its parts. Behavioral system encompasses the patterned, repetitive, and purposeful ways of behaving. Equilibrium, a stabilized but more or less transitory, resting state in which the individual is in harmony with himself and with his environment. Functional requirement and sustainable imperatives. Function requirements is needed for each of the subsystems to develop and maintain its stability. Sustainable imperatives are supplies from the environment such as protection, nurturance, and stimulation. Regulation and/or control implies that deviations will be detected and corrected. Tension, a state of being stretched or strained and can be viewed as an end product of a disturbance in equilibrium. Stressor, internal or external stimuli that produce tension and result in degree of instability.
The subsystems of behavioral system. The 7 subsystems are ingestive, eliminative, affiliative, sexual, dependency, aggressive, and achievement.
Ingestive has to do with when, how, what, how much, and under what conditions we eat. It also means to intake nutrients and obtain knowledge. Eliminative, it means to express one's feelings, and it also means to release physical waste. Dependency is associated with obtaining assistance from others to complete tasks and/or emotional supporters. Sexual, it means developing gender-based identity, having sexual relationships, and to procreate. Aggressive is a protective response to ensure survival. Affiliative is developing and maintaining interpersonal relationships. Achievement is to deal with goals, goal setting, and goal attainment.
The 7 subsystems interact with each other and are all interrelated and interconnected. When the 7 subsystems are not all in balance, the behavior exhibited by the person will not be optimal. Johnson believed that there are 4 possible things that can be wrong with a subsystem and cause it to become out of balance. First is insufficiency, when the subsystem is not developed fully or does not get enough of something. Second, discrepancy, when the subsystem is not working in a way that leads to the optimal goal state. Third is dominance. It is when one subsystem is always used even though it might not be the best to lead the goal state or most functional behavior. And lastly, incompatibility. It is when subsystems conflict.
Each subsystem has three functional requirements. First, system must be protected from noxious influences with which system cannot cope. Second, each subsystem must be nurtured through the input of appropriate supplies from the environment. Third, each subsystem must be stimulated for use to enhance growth and prevent stagnation. These behaviors are orderly, purposeful and predictable, and sufficiently stable and recurrent to be amenable to description and explanation.
Paradigm. Person is a behavioral system with patterned, repetitive, and purposeful ways of behaving that link the person with the environment. Health is an elusive dynamic state influenced by biological, psychological, and social factors. Environment consists of all the factors that are not part of the individual's behavioral system but that influence the system. Nursing is an external force acting to preserve the organization and integration of the patient's behavior to an optimum level by means of imposing temporary regulatory or control mechanisms or by providing resources while the patient is experiencing stress or behavioral system imbalance. Importance in nursing practice. Johnson's theory guides nursing practice, education, and research. It also generates new ideas about nursing and differentiates nursing from other health professions by focusing on behavior rather than biology. The theory clearly differentiates nursing from medicine, although the concepts overlap with those of psychological profession. Johnson's behavioral system model has directed questions for nursing research. It has been analyzed and judged appropriate as a basis for the development of a nursing curriculum. Practitioners and patients have judged the resulting nursing actions to be satisfactory. The theory also has potential for continued utility in nursing to achieve valued nursing goals.